Hi. A friend suggested that I should talk about the types of flutes to buy. If you're a starter flautist, you might look at Trevor James flutes or Yamaha flutes, particularly. Very good makes of flute. There's a Trevor James 10X, which is great. Yamaha YFL Treble 2, which is also great flute. There are also Gemeinhardt flutes. Pearl 505 flutes are excellent. Jupiter flutes. There's a JFL 700. And then there are also cheaper flutes. Be careful of cheaper flutes because very often they don't maintain particularly well over time. Although there are two makes which I've seen recently which will start you. Don't think that that's the end. You'll probably have to put it in part exchange and get something else in future. John Packer make very good flutes, and also Odyssey as well. So you may look at those. The ones I've talked about previously, Trevor James and Yamahas and Gemeinhardts, Pearls, Jupiters, they usually retail about $400 to $1,000. That is a lot of money. I always think that it isn't to do with the flute itself, although in the end, maybe when you eventually get a silver flute, you'll see the difference. But it's to do with the player. Many years ago, I had two flutes. I had an Artley, an American flute, which was a great flute. I played it all the way through time at music college. I borrowed something else for an exam, something much better. When I came to play that much better flute, the sound was incredible. But that Artley served me well. Also, old Boozy and Hawkes silver flutes are really good. Boozy and Hawkes Regents and Boozy and Hawkes Concord flutes. For beginners, if you can find a really good second-hand flute, it's fine. Make sure it's been refurbished though. Yeah. Silver plated flutes with closed holes are a great idea. You can also buy flutes also with open holes as well, which is to do with tuning and sound. French open hole flutes, of course, used on Louis Lot flutes originally, back in the 19th century. Louis Lot was a fantastic French flute manufacturer. Were excellent, but don't expect to find a Louis Lot flute cheap, and they are a rarity. Trevor Wyman, one of my old teachers, used to have a workshop in his studio at the Royal Northern College of Music in Manchester, and he used to mess around with Louis Lot flutes on this work table. He used to do all kinds of work on flutes and doctor them, and his work was amazing. Try and get a flute, so silver plate, closed hole is fine. I mean, I've always played closed hole flutes, and they've done me really well. With a split E as well. Split E flutes are very good. I mean, in the old days, before the split E mechanism was invented, top E was a difficult note to play. But what the split E does is make those two notes work independently. That's why it's called a split E. And originally, I think from what I can remember, that used to stay down while this used to go up, or the other way around. I can't remember. It's so long ago since I played a flute without a split E that it was a Japanese invention, I believe. It just makes top E's really easy to play. Says him as he makes a total mess of it. Top E straight in the old days without closed E was very difficult. So that's why they devised that particular mechanism. It depends how much money you've got available. If you've got money available, then by all means buy a great flute. You know, it's worth buying. I mean, top of the range flutes. You have Japanese flutes like Muramatsu's and Miyazawas and Sankyos. They are really terrific flutes. They're a lot of money. Um, I dread to think how much they are now, but I bet you anything they're in about the 4,000, 5,000 pound mark, which is a lot of money for anyone really. If you've got money to spare, then by all means, but get a great flute. I don't believe it's necessarily to do with the make of flute. I think that certainly helps, but it's to do with the player. I think that's what it's all about. And a great flute is going to be good for technique. If they're hand built, the key work is usually excellent. If they're production line flutes, the key work isn't quite as good and the tuning isn't quite as good. Tone wise, a top of the range flute really does help. You can really tell the difference. Many years ago, when I played my Artley flute at music college, for one of the exams I took, I borrowed a friend's Muramatsu. It was incredible. It was incredible. Yet a few years ago, I decided to buy a Yamaha 417, I think. Well, there was a Yamaha 417 in, and I'd asked a flute company to send me a Haynes and a Powell flute, an American flute, on approval. And so I got these in the post, and I thought, yeah, they're okay. And then in the shop I went to, I took both of those flutes along and tried a Yamaha 417. It just blew the Muramatsu and the Powell completely out of the water. Now, but in saying that, the Yamaha key work didn't last a long time. It began to make a lot of noise. So all these things have to be borne in mind when you buy flutes. I hope that's useful for you. Remember, it's the flute player and not the flute. That is really what it's about as far as I can see anyway. But if you have the money, buy a flute, and if you don't, well, buy a beginner flute and then move on. It's, I started with a Grazzi years and years ago, an Italian flute. Then I had a Boozy and Hawkes Concord. Then I bought my Artley, and then I bought a Gemeinhardt, and then I bought my Yamaha 417, and now I play a Yamaha 614, which is terrific. It's a closed hole flute. It has these French keys, which are really great. The key work's reasonably quiet. I've had it for about 15 years. I think it cost me about 1,200 or 300 pounds when I bought it. But it's worth splashing out for something like that, if you really feel you want to. Right. That's all I can say really about flutes. That is my knowledge of flutes. If you want to find anything else, you can phone a music shop or go and see a flute specialist. All Flutes Plus in London are really good. Right. Okay.